Okay, so before we just dive right into Google and start searching for homeschool curriculum, there are some important steps we need to take before that so we're not completely overwhelmed and decide that we're just going to give up because we don't understand and there's just too many choices. The very first thing that I'd like you to do is to be able to take some time and understand how your child learns. Okay, so there are different learning styles, and although some of them have changed over time, or maybe they're not as popular as they used to be, there are still some fundamental truths into looking at our children and seeing how they follow instructions, how they learn, how they understand things. So there's basically three major learning styles, and the first one is visual, the second is auditory, and the third is kinetic. We're going to start first by talking about visual. So visual learners are people who look at instructions and see the pictures. They are the ones who like to watch from a video. They are the ones who enjoy seeing to be able to learn, okay, or to understand things. The second is auditory. They like people to read the instructions to them. They also like watching videos, but they like listening to the voice of them. They are the people who enjoy read alouds and reading books on audiobooks or podcasts, those kinds of things. So if your child is an auditory learner, that means they need to hear to be able to learn things well. The next is kinetic. Kinetic are the people who like to do things. So the ones who like to write things down. They're the ones who want to jump in. So when they have instructions on how to build furniture, they don't look at the instructions. They just dive in and figure out in their head how things all piece together. They trial and error, that kind of thing. They're the ones who need to be moving to be able to memorize facts or to understand things. So, and don't think that your child can only be one of those options. Your child can be a combination of multiple ones. For example, myself, I know that I am a visual kinetic learner, which means that when I used to take tests in school, when I used to go to school, I used to draw back on watching myself write. I had a memory of visually watching myself write my notes so that I could pull back information. So that for me, I am a visual kinetic learner. That's how I remember. I have some kids that are very kinetic. They will absolutely only do things by trial and error. They don't care what the picture looks like. They don't care how many times I give them instructions. They're just going to do it and figure it out for themselves. So your action step for today is to figure out what your child's learning style is. So here's what you're going to do. First, you can do a lot of observation. Just see how your child naturally learns throughout the day. Do they like watching a video about something? Do they like reading a book? Do they like listening to you tell them what to do? Do they like to just jump in and do something? Here's a fun way to do that. Give them a bowl that's got some marshmallows, like mini marshmallows, and some spaghetti noodles. Some dry spaghetti noodles. I bet some of the kinetic learners will just dive right in and start building things with it. Some of the visual learners will look for a visual clue. So you can either have a written down instructions or a picture of a tower made out of spaghetti and marshmallows. And some other kids will say, what do I have to do? And ask you to tell them, build a tower out of these tools. How tall can you make them? Okay, so kind of play with what they're going to do, see what they can do. So your action step today is do some observing, find out what your children's learning styles are, and just enjoy the observation opportunities that they give you.